Welcome back. So I think we've had a little bit of time to become familiar with the interface. Let's take a look at some of the highlights in the interface for the Code Academy to make sure we understand it. So you have the professional version. It says try Pro for free. That's really not necessary, and I think it's going to prompt you for credit card information. So you don't really need to do this. The basic course will be enough for us, and on top of the basic course, I will be providing you with additional information at any time. If you want to log out of this course website, you can just click this icon right here at the top, and you'll see a logout button right there. You have this dashboard when you first get logged in. So when you come in tomorrow, you'll see something like this. If you want to see your courses, just click My Course. And you can see so far we've only added here, Welcome to the Academy. We need to add a second course now, and that is the Introduction to Programming. So we have the full catalog again. Career path, so just skip past career path. Skill paths, skip past that. And then finally, courses. The first major course that we're going to be doing is Learn How to Code. Okay, so we've completed this one here, which just introduces us to the website. Let's click on the second course now, Learn How to Code. And go ahead and click Start. If you wish, you can review the syllabus, the list of topics first. It's broken into 3 different units, Programming 1, Programming 2, and Programming 3. You can see the different elements in there, the content that they're teaching, and quizzes. So let's go ahead, click the orange button to start learning how to code. So you get a little pop-up message from time to time providing you information. You can go ahead and close that or leave it open if you like. So it gives you a little introduction to coding. What is coding all about? So go ahead and read through it. And they give you these interactive exercises. So for example, how good are you at giving instructions? Try and get the code to draw a square. Well, somehow I have to take this guy here and move him to draw a square. Well, what if I move him to the left? And I'll move him to the left 2 times. Let's click Run and see what happens. So he moves to the left 2 times. Well, let's go up 2 times. And then you can see here it's putting in those instructions right there. Oops. And it looks like now he's doing both. So you get the idea. If we go to the right now 2 times, we're well on our way to drawing that square. Okay, so that's what programming is. That's what coding is, writing instructions. So you read through that, you complete the interactive exercises, you click next. So I'm going to quickly go through a lot of this with you because a lot of it will be somewhat unfamiliar. Variables. So let's click Start Lesson. And it tries to explain the concept of a variable. Okay, so variables are buckets that hold information. So the best way to explain that is go to an example. Now, while you're here at this page, read through the introduction to variables, and then you're going to have some instructions here. So scroll down to the instructions. So imagine that you're building a game using tiles with 3 different patterns representing different terrains. Terrain means land. The tiles need to be placed in the following order. So in the first row, this row right here, we need grass, rocks, and grass. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll type in grass. Okay, so you can see grass is there, rocks, Okay, so we got rocks there, and then grass again. Okay, so follow those instructions and then check your result and go to the next one. Okay, so reusing a variable, similar type exercise, read through it, go through the instructions. I'm going to click next again. Takes a second to load here. Okay, another very similar exercise, read through the instructions and carry it out over here. So it's going to get interesting at some point, I promise. Okay, now this is what actual code looks like. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. We have some comments. Comments are not actions. They're just extra information that we put in there for ourselves or for others to read, but they're not actually executed or carried out. So we have some instructions here, and then we can see one is grass. So our instructions here, let's scroll down to our instructions. Okay, below we have a variable called 1. All right, set variable to rocks. Okay, well, we have 1 up here and we see it's grass. Let's go to 2. So we'll create a variable called 2 like they asked, and we will set it to equals rocks. And I'm going to use quotation marks here, and we'll call this rocks. And before I go to the next step, let's click the run button and see the effect. And there we go. So now we have rocks placed in here. We'll go to the third instruction here. Okay, so we have variable 3. So we're going to declare a variable 3 here. And we're going to set that to forest. However, forest is a special type of data. Okay, we call it string data, just plain text. And plain text needs to be in quotation marks. So notice with grass, rocks, and forest, we place them in quotation marks. Let's go ahead and run it again. And you can see once again the pattern has changed. We can see forests over here. So these exercises are very trivial, but they will quickly get you used to what is going on here. So here we're just simply changing it around, changing the information. Let's click next, and now we can start the quiz. All right, so I think that's pretty straightforward. All right, so at the end of the quiz, all right, you'll see how well you learned the concepts. So let's do the first couple of questions together. Given the value of my cookbook, what do you think the value of statement will be? Well, here's a variable, my cookbook, okay, and it's holding or it's storing the following content. It's holding a string, the joy of cooking. That's the name of a book. Then we have a second variable, how to cook everything, and then we have a statement. In that statement, we're putting things together. We're putting together the following string, my favorite cookbook is, and then after that, we're putting a variable, my cookbook. And then in between, you see the plus sign. The plus sign just means put the two together. Okay, so put together this text and then put together this variable, my cookbook. We come up, we see my cookbook is the joy of cooking. Okay, now before I select the right answer, I think it's the first one, there's something you need to notice here. Do you see right after the word is and before the quotation mark, there's a space there, because that's exactly what we want. We want a space, and then we want to see the title of the book, The Joy of Cooking. If we don't do that, what's going to happen is the word is and the word my cookbook are going to be stuck together with no space in between. So let's select the first answer. We see it's correct. Let's continue. When we use a value without assigning it to a variable, it's known as, well, that is a hard-coded value. Continue. Okay, now you're taking inventory in the store, and the number of shirts, save the value of the number of shirts. So we'll say shirts. Okay, we want an equal sign. We're just following the example here. And how many shirts do we have? We have 6 shirts. So check our answer, and that is correct. And we click continue. Take a look at the following code snippet. If we print out the value of the final variable here, okay, what would it be? Well, let's put this together. Okay, so we see number of sides. Okay, there is a variable, and then we're giving that variable a value. Remember, a variable is a bucket. You put stuff in a bucket. It's a box. It's holding something. So this variable here is holding the number 4. Okay, so we have the number 4 in there. Triangles, well, that has, that's another box, and it has the number 3. And then number of sides equals, well, one variable equals another variable. So number of sides, and then triangle, well, come up here, go to that variable. We see triangle is 3. So therefore, number of sides is the same thing. Okay, number of sides is going to be 3. So we go ahead and select the answer, click continue, and I believe this is the last question. The purpose of a variable is to store a value. A variable is a box or a bucket, and you put stuff in there, store a variable. Okay, we click continue, and it gives you your grade. You don't need to upload this to me right now. I'll tell you when you need to upload it. You click, you have 2 choices. You can continue on to the next lesson. I recommend at this early stage, if you get less than 80%, you should retake the course. In fact, let's try to keep it at 100%, and we'll be doing fine. Now, we're on to the next section, data types. So it starts in a very simple way. Okay, you read through the lesson here. It explains to you what data is. It gives you some instructions. Okay, and depending on the type of data, you can do different things. So if your data is a number, well, you can add it together, you can square, you can do these kinds of operations. If it is a string, you can capitalize it, and so on. So let's try this out here. Okay, so I'm going to select a function like capitalize, and I am going to choose the right type of data. Do you capitalize a number? No. Do you set it equal to true? No. But you can capitalize the word kangaroo. So let's go ahead, select kangaroo, and click transmit, and you can see the letters have been capitalized. Let's do another example here. Okay, evaluate. Okay, and well, we can evaluate something as true or false. So let's click transmit, and we get the answer 1. So we go through this. We read the information, and then we carry out the instructions, and then we click next. Okay, so go ahead and try that out. Before I finish off here, I just want to mention we have 3 types of 3 data types, strings. So let me go ahead and put a string in here. Hello. Next, Boolean can be true or false. The light is on, the light is off. And the last data type that we have, okay, you can see here, we have a nice assignment with 3 different data types, with a number, with a string, and finally with a Boolean.